Hello everyone, Ronald here from the Math Coach channel. Today we'll talk about algebra, specifically adding and subtracting integers, and we will begin by a quick recall of what integers are. So integers are all the whole numbers, both positive and negative numbers, including 0. This means that negative 1000, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4000, and so on are all integers. But then 1.5, 2.7, or other types of numbers are not integers. Okay? Now, there are 3 basic rules when adding integers, and we will discuss them one by one. So rule number 1 is when we're adding 2 integers that are both positive. So positive plus positive is equal to a positive integer. For example, 2 plus 3, well, 2 and 3 are both positive numbers, and so we will just add 2 and 3, which is just equal to 5, right? So the sum here is as simple as 5. Now, the second rule is when we're adding 2 negative integers, and the result would be a more negative number. So in this example, we have negative 2 plus negative 3. Take note that both the numbers are negative, and so what we'll do here is to just add 2 and 3. 2 plus 3 would be equal to 5. Okay? And then we will drop the common sign, which is negative. So we'll write it in front of 5. So the final answer would be negative 5. Rule number 3 is when we're dealing with 2 numbers that have opposite signs. And when signs are different, subtract the smaller number from the bigger number and then take the sign of the bigger number. So in these 2 examples here, for the first example, we have negative 4 plus 3. The bigger number here is 4 and the smaller number is 3. So we will subtract 3 from 4 and we will get a 1, right? And this is not the end. We have to take the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number here is 4 and the sign of 4 is negative. So we will take that as the sign of our 1 here. So the answer is negative 1. For the second example, 4 plus negative 3, we will do the same process. We will repeat the same process as above. So we will subtract 3 from 4. That would be 4 minus 3 would be equal to positive 1. And the bigger number here is 4. And so we will take that as the sign of our answer, which is 1. And so our final answer is positive 1 or just 1. Okay, wouldn't need to put a positive in front of it because it's understood that 1 is positive. Now we will move on to subtracting integers. Subtracting integers are a little bit complicated, and we will follow a golden rule here, which is keep, change, and change. What does that mean? We have 3 steps: to keep the first number, change the minus sign to a plus, and then change the second number to its opposite. So let's try that with one of the examples. Let's try it with the first example. The first example is negative 7 minus 12. So following the golden rule, we need to keep the first number. The first number is negative 7. So we will just rewrite negative 7 there. Okay. That would be negative 7. And then we will change the minus sign to a plus. So this minus sign now here becomes a plus. And we rewrite the number 12, but then actually change it to its opposite. So when we talk about the opposite, we talk about the additive inverse of the second number. The additive inverse of 12 is just negative 12. Okay? So we will now rewrite that here, and our problem now becomes an addition problem, which is negative 7 plus negative 12, right? And so for this, we will treat it as an addition problem. So remember, for adding 2 numbers that are negative, the answer would be more negative. And so we will add 7 and 12, that would be 19, and then drop the sign or the common sign. So we take the common sign and the final answer would be negative 19. Okay? Now let's take a look at the second example. So following the same rule, the same golden rule, we keep the first number 7. We change the minus sign to a plus, and then we change the second number to its opposite, or to its additive inverse, which is 12. So we're just removing or changing the sign of the second number. Okay? So our problem now becomes 7 plus 12, which is, again, an addition problem now. So in other words, we change our subtraction of integers problem into an addition one so that we can perform an addition, which is simpler, right? So now 7 plus 12 would be 19. Now let's take a look at the third example here. So following the same rule, we will keep negative 7 and then change the minus sign to a plus and apply it here. And then get the inverse, the additive inverse, or the opposite of negative 10, which is 10. So now we have negative 7 plus 10. And to add two different or numbers with different signs, we subtract the smaller from the bigger number. So this would be 10 minus 7, which is 3, and then take the sign of the bigger number, which is 10. So the sign of 10 is positive, so we don't need to do anything with 3. The final answer is it's positive 3, right? So the final answer is positive 3. Okay. Now let's deal with problems that involve both addition and subtraction operations. And we'll start with the first example here. So for the first example, we have two operations, positive and negative. And we'll treat the problem with two steps. We have the addition and subtraction. For addition, we know that these two numbers have different signs, and so we will subtract 3 from 9. We will get 6, and we know that the sign of the bigger number 9 is positive, so the answer here is 6. And then we will just rewrite negative 13 there, or minus 13 there. And now we form an expression that is only a subtraction of integers, right? And what we'll do here is to follow the golden rule. So keep the first number. The first number is 6. And then change our minus sign to a plus. And then get the inverse or the opposite of 13, which is negative 13. And now we will treat the operation as a addition operation. It's a 6 plus negative 13. We subtract 6 from 13, which is 7. And then take the sign of our 13, which is negative. So the answer here would be negative 7. Let's take a look at the second problem in the green note card. So negative 12 minus 7, take note that we have two subtraction operations here, right? We have the negative 12 minus 7, and then we have the 7 minus negative 9. We will deal with it process by process. We start with negative 12 minus 7, so keep negative 12 and then change the minus to a plus, and then change the second number to its opposite, so negative 12 plus negative 7, which is just equal to negative 19. Then we rewrite the second number, so that's negative 19 plus the operation of subtraction, and then we have negative 9 there. Again, we repeat the golden rule, and we should be able to get the final result here. So negative 19, we keep the first number, and then we change the minus to a plus, right? So that becomes plus, and then the opposite of negative 9 is just 9. So we will have negative 19 plus 9, which is subtract 9 from 19, and carry the sign of the bigger numbers, which is negative 10. Okay? This problem is reserved for you, and I want you to write your answer down in the comment section. So, see you in the next video. Have a nice day.